Good evening YouTubers, welcome back to my channel, Workshop Fun. Today I'd like to post an update on what's been happening with my RV. It's been getting a few big things done lately, so I thought it's about time I posted another update. So, when I brought this, the bed had been changed a little bit already. Somebody had put 2 sheets of ply over the top of it. So what they did is they cut it in half. Like obviously they got 1 sheet of ply or something, cut it in half, and they basically used that to reinforce the bed top, I believe. So when they did that though, there was no real way of lifting the hinging half of the bed up. So I made this white trim out of angle iron, which acts as a nice trim but also a handle for lifting that side of the bed up. So it's sort of killing 2 birds with 1 stone. The paint came out great. If anybody wants to know what paint I used on the angle iron, I used Wattle Kill Rust epoxy paint. It comes in an aerosol can. So I used just a bit of angle iron, 40 by 40 by 3mm thick, and turn around and I cut it to the right shape of the bed and then welded it on that seam. So basically all I had to do was make a little cutout at the corner, bend it to the right shape, and then just weld it up. And then I drilled the holes and countersunk them, and then I used my good quality marine adhesive to glue it on, and also it's screwed on. So now I can lift the bed quite easily. So there you go. I haven't lifted it right up because I've got to make some modifications to the second bit of ply. But yeah, that's underneath my bed now. Okay. The other thing you'll notice is the utility area is all finished off. So I did the last of the cable management and the last of the work on the wall that needed to be done. And that's all done. So to finish the utility wall, I used some more of that alloy composite material and used my marine adhesive and glued and screwed that in, and that has basically tanked the wall. It's protected from moisture and it gives it a bit more strength, although it already has a ton more strength than what it came out of the factory with by the timber that we put in. Then I, just for the fun of it more than anything, made this nice little stand to hold the lead that goes up. I made the alloy shroud over the top of the wiring that runs over the top of the hot water cylinder. And I also made a proper little wooden bracket there with the cable holders on it to hold the main lot of cable coming through. So the other big thing that I've done lately, which is quite apparent, I'm just going to drop this down nicely. Okay, so at the foot of my bed, I always wanted to make a enclosed pocket shelf, and that's for my feet to slide into at night. So I'm 6 foot tall, and when my head's on the pillow, I don't typically hit the end of this bed, or hit the foot of the bed, but sometimes I did, and it used to wake me up a little bit or just annoy me when I was sleeping. So one of the modifications I wanted to do when I was working on the caravan is make this pocket shelf. So I've begun doing that now. Excuse me. And believe you me, it's been hard work actually. I've spent 2 days solid on modifying this wall, because it's not just making this pocket shelf that has been the job, but it's also been modifying everything else to suit it. So for example, coming around here to this little side door, which used to be for the little table that came out of here, I had to make that suit the pocket shelf. So I didn't want the table anymore because I got my fold out picnic tables anyway, and also the fold out table is just not something I would use. So what I had to do in here was turn around, and so half the door is basically sort of interfered with, I suppose, but that didn't really bother me. I've put this nice bit of alloy composite material on here too to make that look nice. So that's on the outside of the pocket shelf that I built, and on the inside of in here. So that then connects up to, so the back of the pocket shelf connects up to the original shelf for the top cupboard. Now what I did, which to me is far more beneficial than having the other room for the table, I actually extended this whole bottom shelf. I extended the width of it, and that gives me a ton more room for saucepans and pans and big pots and everything. They can all fit in there now. And the other thing is through here I can slide in my oven trays or anything else, so there's a lot of extra room there now. Now what I also did today, which was a tricky job, is I cut out this bit of angle iron and I just painted it with Kilrush silver, and then I had to screw it onto the wall that I was putting back in, and I used lock nuts, and then I bolted it to the floor using the bolts, the roofing bolts that I used on my bed. I had some left over, and also the resin, and that now secures this wall here in place really well, because it's actually quite a important structural wall. So when I was putting that back together, I also put in this nice white trim underneath here, so it looks quite tidy now. And I had to make sure it was even across here, the gap, and then I had to take into account when doing that, this wall here had to fit in flush with this, and then it also had to be flush with up here, and then this door here had to close. I've broken the latch by accident. I'm going to be buying a nice magnetic one though anyway, but the door had to close as straight and even as possible. And then I had to straighten the main beam up because that had been loose, and I used some roofing screws on the plastic thing that holds that in place at the base, and some resin, and screwed that into place. And now the sliding door closes perfectly, which is nice. It's actually as good as I've ever seen it close. Then after that, I had to account for the width of the oven and make sure that the oven would still slide in here nicely. And then after that, I was able to start fiddling around with putting the doors back on. And the other thing I had to do was put this end piece back on the bed, but also that had to be, so this bit of wood here had to be trimmed down a bit so this end piece could go back on. So that's all done now, but that was all a lot of work and fiddling around. So like I said, this took 2 days worth of work. So how I made the actual box shelf or pocket shelf for my feet, it's all made out of 18mm ply, and then I cut out and glued these bits of ply, or not ply, veneered wood over the top, so it's nice smooth wood. Now I'm not sure, I'm thinking about bogging all the holes and filling in that with a bit of timber and bogging that as well, and then I might paint this bit the same colour as the wall to sort of just blend it out and make it nice. That might be one way of really prettying it up and making it look good. And then I would just maybe put a little bit of alloy or even white plastic straight across the edge there to create the division between the veneer finish and the painted finish. So it's an idea I'm toying around with right now, just to kind of make life easier on myself. So that was, yeah, like I said, 2 days worth of work. And the white trim, that was all work too and fiddling around. So basically now I'm just trying to do some of those finishing touches, which still take a bit of work, and then I can almost see the end of this project, which is my home. The other thing that I didn't include in my video of some of the renovations that I've done is up in here. I actually even did a lot of work up in here. This wall, from past owners and from myself too, had quite a few horrible holes in it, so I ended up fixing it all up and making a whole new panel for the back of this wall here, and a way up there to cover up the solar wiring coming through as best I could. I couldn't get rid of that bit, the bit back there, but when you're bending up here looking like that, you don't see it much. So that was another lot of work. You know, just all these little things, they do take ages, but you know, they make the caravan nice once it's finished. Oh. So yeah, the bed is, yeah, largely back together now, and it's all coming along nicely. And the hot water cylinder is all going nicely. So that's about all for now. If anybody would like to know any more details for doing something themselves, if they've got a UK caravan and they happen to be about 6 foot, let me know and I'll try and help you out as best as I can. And for now, thank you very much for watching. Bye.